Oh man, top tier El Halluf. No arty. So yeah, typically, especially on encounter, you're not really too worried about the middle of this map area right here. Whoever controls this 2 line is going to be able to control the cap, so you don't really have to worry about that. You do have a pretty good tank to play through here. The Fury doesn't have like super great alpha on it, but it has decent DPM. I don't remember what the reload time is, we'll have to see. So I would definitely play through this 2 line to start. And again, we were talking about this earlier in the stream, but when there's no artillery on El Halluf, you can spread out a little bit more along these outside ridges here, especially if you're in a tank with reasonable gun depression, to get different shots as needed. So you don't need to restrict yourself nearly as much to playing that specific lane right there. But let's see what the teams do. Alright. And so most of your team is coming this way, which is pretty good. You're getting a couple guys setting up here, which you'll typically have. A lot of times they'll be tank destroyers. And that's a fairly useless position. Pushing down here isn't generally that great of an idea, especially on an encounter map. Again, you're not really too worried about the cap side. Just control this 2 line, and then you can dominate those guys in the middle. That's never really a problem. What you don't want to do is what this PZ3J is doing, which is basically drive out to this side, or basically what you're doing, which is drive out to this side. That's the only side where they can actually shoot you. If you control the 2 line, you can dominate those guys without doing anything. So there's a very little reason for you to push through here. Although this, you might as well get the free damage. Amen all the ways, my man. Amen all the ways. A very nice track. And then again, you remember, you're still not super worried about the cap. See where these guys are at right now? These guys, this position, because they're not being countered through this 2 line, can dominate that area right there. The fires are real. And so again, you want to be careful because there's no need for you to play through this area on this side, because this is where you actually can get shot. Because you guys own this side, that allows you to get shots through there. So you basically just want to kill that Hellcat basically through this middle area here, because there's literally nowhere that he can hide. The only place that he can go is around this side where he can get shot by the rest of the guys on your hill. You guys are not trading very well anywhere else, but you'll see that it's very, very easy to get this guy. Although you don't necessarily want to pull out their completely side profile like that, but you know, to each his own. And then you don't necessarily want to push up through here, so you have guys back here, but you're losing this side. So like you need to sort of slow down the bleeding here. You do have 1 on cap. There is no artillery, so you do have that going for you, but you got to be careful of this lane right here. Going for it? That's fine. Front row, look out for the M4. And then don't forget that guy right there. Hit that track. I forgot to hit my push to top there. Hit that track, my man. Make it easier for your team behind you. And then don't back up into KV2 shots. Although they're giving you a lot of opportunities where they're just like, hey, can you shoot me please? Like, I don't feel like I have enough health, so if you could kindly take off, you know, like 3/4 of my health, that would be fantastic. And just let him go. Just let him go, right? Don't fixate on that guy. You need to be focused over on this side as well. So ultimately, you are going to need to push these guys. Somebody's going to need to do it. Because you need to clear this out because you're already behind the clock here, especially if that KV1's looking the other way. Oh, he shot! Kill him! Push the M4! Push the M4! Look at these guys. They literally just want to give you the damages. They're just like, please take it. Okay, and then, so what you don't need to do is you don't necessarily need to clear through this entire side. But what you do want to do is you want to set up for that free damage as these guys come across here or as these guys come across here. Because they're going to try to get themselves in a position to shoot the 3001P. So what you want to do is you want to be in a position where you can spot down this lane if they try to push down here. But if they try to push this guy through the middle, that you can get your free damages. Like right now, the Churchill can shoot that guy, but you don't really have anybody, and that's what I was saying. You can't really play there. You want to play more up where this STRV is. Like if you want to play on this inside over here where this STRV is, then that's fine. But what you need to do is you need to be able to spot these guys before they get in there, so you can get that free damages. Like right now, you're just playing a little bit too far back to actually help your team. And I'm not entirely sure where you're going now. Remember, there's very little reason for you to protect your cap. There's no cap circle there. The cap circle is there, so you have to play that appropriately. So why you are driving away is a little mind-boggling. And like you're driving behind the cap. So this is the one area where you can't really get shots on either side. I still wouldn't worry about that Churchill one. Well, it looks like he got sniped from across the way, so that might hurt. Alright. I just feel like you coming to the back isn't helping you. And then if you're going to play this corner, you just basically want to bait that guy around. Sure why that got reset.
Penetration. Target acquired. Enemy armor is hit.
And then remember, turn your tank, turn your treads. There we go. Alright. And then again, remember, those guys in the cap, that's not a problem. You're really more worried about this T-67, which is might be around here, unless he's the guy that drove down. You don't know. Oh, apparently he's not. And then you just push that guy. Just push him, push. Okay, and it's still very easy just to control through here. Again, you have to understand that you got to be held down. Don't continue to point your ass at him. Don't continue to point your ass at him. The ass of your tank has, generally speaking, for most tanks, has the least amount of actual armor. Look at these guys just driving into you. Look. And like you should be aiming here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so both of those guys are on the cap, but now you're one shot. You can still basically come in through here to get shots at those guys. You'll be hauled down and they won't be. And you don't need to rush, you just need to get one single reset and then you can relocate. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to come down through here. You literally just want to drive through here like this, right? And drive into this alley, get your free shot of damage, and then back off. Because what you're doing is you're setting it up so that I'm going to spot you and you're going to spot me. We're both going to have a chance to shoot. And that's not really what you want. There we go. Even this is probably a little bit too far to the outside. Again, you gotta understand your time. No, where you going, my man? Like, I don't understand why you're playing this side of it. Just literally just drive straight through here. As soon as you spot the first guy, shoot him, and then back up. There's a little bit too much fancy pants going on here, and not enough just hammer. Alright, that's fine. Now back off. You can wait till you drop spot before you back off if you like. And then come in through this channel here, and you're going to have to shoot the other guy now. You're starting to get yourself a little bit behind the clock. No! Let's not take the longest route possible. I'm going to come up on the other side of this KV-1 right here and just shoot over the back of the KV-1. Excellent. No, don't go back! Don't go back, my man! Okay, now you can go back because he shot. That was the only way that you can lose. Okay, and now you got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. How much time? 4 minutes. So, 4 minutes. Go ahead and drop your spot. You can drive all the way. You could drive now. Now you have plenty of time. You could drive over here, have a cigarette, just hang out for a little bit, drive back if you want, if that's what you want. And so you also want to take advantage of the fact that you can probably be further away from this guy. You're a little bit too close. You're also being a little bit predictable in terms of where you're going here. You don't want to generally creep like that. No, don't. See, it's just too greedy. There's zero reason. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I hope you get what I'm saying here. 4 of them. Of those minutes. So, you know, we talk about this a lot, but it's understanding when you feel pressure and when not to feel pressure. So he's driven off the cap, which means he's going to come after you. So what you want to do is you want to get as much distance away from him as possible. And so presumably he's going to drive in a straight line up one of these alleys. You don't really need to poke here right now. It is nice if you can figure out where he's at, but at this point he's just too close, so you need to get someplace further away. Because even if you spot him right here, that's too close. You need a longer distance than that. And we're talking about 250 meters, somewhere in that range. And then, so here's where you can sort of peek over this ridge, because now this will give you a better idea of where exactly he's at. Not there? Okay, so maybe he went all the way up down that way. So you can actually hang out here just a little bit to see if he crosses through there. Because what you need to do is figure out exactly where he went. So, because presumably he pushed towards you, not away from you. I'm not entirely sure where you're going. What you like? So this is what you want to avoid when you're one shot and the other guy's not. You want to avoid being like, okay, let's come up to this corner and let's see if he's immediately on the other side of this corner. Like, this is exactly what you want to avoid. Exactly what you want was sort of what you had back there. Whereas when you're cresting a hill, the only time that you're going to be able to spot him, he's already far away. He can't, you know, hit his turbo boost to catch up to you. What you don't want to do, you never want to do when you're one shot, is sit on a corner. Unless you absolutely know where the other guy is. And then I would just keep driving away this way. So again, you don't want to be at close range with this guy. You do not want to be at close range with this guy. You just don't. That's just never going to work out well for you. You want to spot him across a large distance. And where you're going, no matter where you spot him here, he's going to be too close. and you're not going to be able to trade effectively as you need. Because you need to get at least 2 shots of free damage on him coming in someplace before you actually have a reasonable chance. And I'm just not understanding why you're pushing all these short corners rather than looking for a long alley to play Overwatch on. Because presumably, this is the course that I think that he took. I think he went up here. He went over here. I think he's coming around here. So I think you're gonna meet him over here relatively soon, would be my guess. And again, it's just the same thing, the corner, 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 corner. Or maybe not. Like, oh, there he is. A little too close. Too close. Too close, my man. He's at 100 meters. Turn around and run. So he's a little bit slower than I... Oh, no. Why are you not going? You got... So he's a little bit slower than I thought. But that was pretty much the route that he took. I mean, maybe he, like, drove back here because he's like, I don't know where he went. Right. But again, like, these are just far, far too short of alleys for what you need to actually beat this guy. And I don't know why you stopped there. Like, that made 0 sense. Oh, man. You gotta hope that he misses. Oh, but he didn't. He clutched it up. Or to put it another way, I think you tightened up a little bit too much there. That wasn't bad though. Your team didn't give you a whole lot to work with, which is fine. Coming through here is fine. Again, I don't really feel like in the early game playing this corner is effective. If there is already, certainly, and even if there's not, it just allows too many other people to shoot you. It's so easy. So easy to get free damage through where these guys sat. All you gotta do is just drive down that channel. You're hull down. There's literally no place that they can hide on the cap. Literally no place they can hide. And that's what you want. You want it so that you're hull down, they're trying to snipe at your turret, and there's nowhere for them to hide. Like those are the conditions that you typically want, because that's advantageous to you, which is why controlling this 2-line is so important to controlling the cap. And especially in an encounter where the cap moves really slow, it allows you to clear out through this area and then just smoke the guys on the cap. And then, so you, at that point, you had some cap pressure on, you had your Churchill over here, and then you kind of fell back. What you wanted to do is you wanted to move forward so that you could screen. Because you have the cap component, but you didn't have the screen component. Technically, the Churchill could have screened this guy, but apparently the Churchill wasn't very good at dealing damage to that, whatever it was, at A40. No, let's see, it was one of the mediums. It was a 3485 in the middle. Whichever guy died, I think it was this guy right here. Again, if you're coming over here, then you guys basically have all this screening fire to help your guy right there, because that's what you want to do. You want to screen that cap, right, and force all of these guys, and this is good for you. This is good for you because it's free damage, because as these guys drive across here, free damage, free damage, free damage, free damage. It's just like that KV. Actually, I think this is that KV1 now that I think of it. So the 3485 probably made it all the way up here before the Churchill killed him. But anyways, my point is that you're over here. You're just collecting that free damage, and that's really the situation that you want to create there, because your team is already behind, but you've got cap pressure and a screen position on this side, but you just didn't have anybody actually dealing damage from over here, and that probably would have made a huge difference in the game, because that probably would have crushed them essentially, and then you wouldn't have had to do all these other heroics. And then again, it's about understanding the timer. When they have those 2 guys on the cap, you reset one. Just take your time, right? You've only got a minute at that point, a little bit less than a minute at that point to reset the other guy. And then once you reset the other guy, especially since he was one shot and you killed him, you got plenty of time. There's 4 minutes left on the cap. There was 6 minutes left in the game. Like, there's no need to, like, and you moved from right here to right here. Like, that was your big move. And I think you need to be a little bit more aware of how much pressure is on you. Like there was a time where it didn't feel like you understood that how much pressure there was when they had the cap down to 40 seconds or whatever it was, and then there was a time where you didn't understand how much pressure you had when the cap was at 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes is an incredibly long amount of time in this game. Incredibly long amount of time, which is why it's so difficult to single cap on encounter, because we're talking that you have to be in this circle for 1/3 of the game, like literally 1/3 of the game, in order to single cap. And so take that time to reposition to get to areas where they're not necessarily expecting you to go. Is all that I'm saying. And then again, you don't need to try to get more than one shot. Like you tried to be a little too fancy. Like when you tried to snipe him over here, you tried to get 2 shots and you got lucky that he missed there. Quite simply. And then over here, when you moved over here, you got your first shot and you were thinking about trying to get that second shot, but don't. Just don't. You got 1 shot. You get 1 shot. Unless his turret is completely turned the other way. You get 1 shot. And then if his turret is anywhere remotely near you, that's it. That's all you have. You got to pull back and go someplace else. But the good news is that you have plenty of time to do that. You have plenty of time to just pick away at him. I also probably would have went further away from him than you did, because you don't know what his view range is like. You didn't have optics on your tank, which is fine. But again, that makes a huge difference in the late game. And then when somebody is pursuing you, like this guy is, like you don't want to box yourself in. You don't want to go into a city. You don't want to go into an area like this where there's a lot of squares. What you want is you want him to have to come across a lot of open area on any side. And so you want to set up into positions where you can draw him out. Because once he gets you in that close combat position, all he has to do is press W and you lose. And that's what you want to avoid. All right, so let's look at the stats. Oh, it's already up. I was like, wait a minute, what happened to them? Yeah, like we knew that you didn't get that much from your team. Their team did an excellent job of giving you free damage in that early going. Like between that KV-1S and their KV-2, they were just like, please shoot me, and you did, which is excellent. That's what you need to do. You need to be able to collect that free damage, and then it's just positionally you didn't position yourself to anticipate them coming across towards the cap well enough, because I felt like you could have collected even more free damage there. Like presumably that jumbo and the whatever the other thing was on the cap, the Lago or whatever it was, they also had to come across from the same direction as that T-3485 KV-1S. So you could have been shooting those guys as they crossed as well. And so that's just something positionally. We were talking about this earlier in the stream, is understanding how to cap and screen properly gets you free damage. It just guarantees you free damage, unless you're the guy that has to cap, in which case all you can really do is just sit there and hope that your team actually effectively screens you. But learning to run that proper screen is just free damage, and we say this time and time again, but that's what you want to be able to collect as much as possible. If people are willing to give you free damage, you want to be able to collect that. And if you understand, I'm gonna put this down real quick. If you understand how to move across to the flanks to get shots at these guys that are pushing across here towards your guy on the screen, I'm sorry, on the cap, then you're going to be able to collect that free damage. But GG, nice try. Was an excellent game. Just it was something that you definitely could have won. Alrighty, and then so next we will look at Let's Rock on Lakeville. Oh my. Yes, 4 minutes. And so yeah, the Dinkus was saying I don't think it's 26%. It can't be, right? It's a 15-minute game. But anyways, it's probably closer to. I guess you are right, because it is 4 is 25% of 16. But anyways, my point is that you know, considering that it takes you a minute and a half to drive into a position where you can actually encounter the opponent, well, let's say a minute, it's even shorter. Functionally, it's closer to 33%. No, you wouldn't have to be broadcasting from my secret moon base. See, if you understand relativity, which I don't, I am broadcasting from someplace that is moving faster than the speed of light, so time occurs differently for me. Alright, anyways, enough nerdy now. Let's get on to the Lakeville. Or you can believe that I'm bad at math. You know, it's one of the two. Man, another top tier game. Alright, so top tier Pershing. Neither team has a super heavy comp, so you're not too worried. You do need to come through this side, but you like a lot of times if your comp is let me figure out how to do this. Okay, so a lot of times if your comp is light and their comp is heavy, it's difficult to set up in the city. You can't be too aggressive and push forward here. In this type of comp where the Emil doesn't really have armor, it's got some turret armor, but you can shoot it through the hull pretty easily. The Black Prince isn't really something that you got to worry about, and you know the rest of the tanks are relatively squishy. So you're not as worried about that setup. So you do want to set up someplace where you can spot them on the cross and get the early damage if they do try to push in. Again, because the cap on encounter is right here, it's important to be in this area, but you don't necessarily need to push up early. You can see if you get any intel and basically read it, but you do want to be up here. You do need to be in the area. And you never want to play the middle from the north side, because if the south side knows what they're doing, they will just straight wreck you. Doesn't really happen that much in pubs, which is why you see people do it. But if you try to play the middle against an organized team, they will just wreck you because there's nothing that you can do to stop them. And you'll see a lot of people play this position up here. A lot of light tanks that'll pull up here. And so you guys, if you watch me play Lakeville, what you'll notice is that I don't stop over here to get shots at these guys. I stop right here. And the reason why I stop right here is because this position that you're at right here is extremely vulnerable to getting shot from right here. Because there's literally nowhere that you can hide. Because I can shoot through this alley right here. I can shoot up here. The only thing that you can do is if you're lit, you got to come back behind this rock. And coming back behind this rock then exposes you to shots from over there. But you'll see a lot of people play this position because most people won't counter them from there. But again, in organized play, you put people over here. Because this position right here will completely decimate these guys in the middle. And then you can have an arty over here, which also basically completes the trifecta.
Enemy armor is damaged. Ricochet.
Oh my. Look at the shooting gallery though.
Penetration.
Must be some lag. I think you're experiencing some lag because some of these shells look like they're going behind. I did see a little bit of red on the packet loss meter. You'll notice that the Pershing is not the most accurate of tanks, but luckily their scouts aren't really proficient enough to cover you.
Enemy is hit.
They are pushing some people through the valley, but you're not really too concerned about that. And then so what you're noticing here is a few things. One, you've got way too much weight in this middle. And again, this middle really, even though they ran the best possible scenario for you, which is basically they drove across the middle and allowed you to shoot them as much as you wanted, like you still didn't you know, massively hurt their team. And the problem is that now you're a little bit out of position, because if these guys push through here, right, you just don't have enough to actually stop them. These guys are coming in through here, but that's not that much of a concern. Ideally, your artillery would go out. There's no reason for the artillery to play in there anyways, but you'll see that a lot. You do need to come back this way, and then again, so all you have to do is you want to get set up on this low ground here. You've got some control in the middle. This is a problem that happens a lot. You'll see this a lot. There's a lack of discipline in even in organized play, which is why you need a good caller to recognize this. And what you'll see a lot of times, even in organized play, is like, okay, we know that they're breaking through this side. Then the undisciplined part is that everybody here will come back. And then what that allows is for them to come back up through here and through here to get shots onto the back. You need somebody that remains disciplined, right? That keeps control on that alley. And so you're pushing in here, which, it's okay. But I don't think that that's necessary. Again, remember, encounter. There's nothing, people put an artificial importance on where they spawn. Where you spawn is meaningless. Meaningless in encounter. This area is meaningless. The only question that you have is, do I have a strategic advantage if I play here? And if I don't, there's no incentive. There's zero incentive for you to guard this area unless it has some specific strategic importance. And in this particular scenario, it does not. Your artillery is dead. What you want to do is you basically just want to let these guys come around so that you can get your shots.
Penetration.
And you can bait this guy a little bit.
Penetration.
He's going to run out of shots. Oh, there we go. He's done 3.
Enemy is hit.
And then just finish him off. I would actually start shooting at the, yeah. Because your boy was obviously getting it.
Penetration.
And then you are probably going to have to push that A44. And then, see, this is about the discipline. See how this guy was able to just drive in through here. And it's the same thing. See how these guys shifted over here? If they just stay back here, right, then they can get much better shots on this guy. But you'll see that a lot even in organized play, which is why callers need to recognize that and understand where to shift people and say, hey, you stay.
Enemy armor is hit.
And then you don't need to drive further forward here. See how they have this E25 here? You're just driving yourself into a position where he can actually shoot you. And you should actually shoot that E25 given the opportunity.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Again, you're literally putting your butt to the E25. They own the cap area. You, much like Mooch, think that the rear of your tank is the best place to point it at the enemy. Like, okay, and then again. So for some reason, your team is shifting to the west here. Like, this area is important for some reason. Like, yeah, they got a Black Prince over here, but is that Black Prince really causing your team problems? Really what's causing your team problems is the fact that you have nobody in the city, right? And that's where the cap is. Like, this is the important ground here. Like, this is not important, this area. And so you're placing, again, an artificial importance on an area that is ultimately meaningless. And you can shoot right through the front of his armor. And again, you don't want to sit on this corner, a little bit of an arty trap.
Enemy armor is damaged. Target acquired.
Oh, he turned the other way for some reason. I don't know what that bulldog is doing. And again, you need to be a little bit more aggressive here in your positioning. So their artillery just fired. So somebody needs to go after that bulldog. It looks like your team is going after it.
Enemy armor is hit.
And at this point, you need to be a little bit of YOLO here. You can't allow this guy to sit back there.
Penetration.
Well, it doesn't look like they're sitting that much. Oh, needed to just... So a lot of times, like, you snap out of sniper mode. Just stay in sniper mode, man. Like, there's no reason for you to snap out of sniper mode right now. You're just confusing yourself. And again, they only have 1 on cap. So you have plenty of time. But what you want to start doing is you need to get that guy down. See, like, I don't understand. Why are you coming out of sniper mode there? Just stay in sniper mode, aim, press button. You're making them relevant. Let's hurt them. I would shoot the E25.
Enemy is hit.
E25, my man! And then stop backing up. Like, I don't understand why you guys are backing up. Like, that's the worst possible thing that you can do. Understand what it is that you're afraid of. Stop backing up! Like, you are so much safer up here. They have 2 on cap now. You do need to push this VTU at some point. Oh. Already just fired? Aim, just aim, my man. No, there's no reason for you to... Alright. Now comes the YOLO. I don't understand. No, so you still need to YOLO around that way. Like, it's too easy for them to just sit back there. They're not gonna be sitting out in the alley. So, I think a large part of your problem is that you really underestimated the strength of your tank here, and I don't understand why. Lol. I'm surprised that guy was just sitting out in the open. Oh, somebody got him. Oh, you got. Oh, new life. Thank you, WZ-131. And so that just highlights the fact that you probably should have just driven over there straight away, but that's not good. Now you need to be the first guy in as much as possible. All you gotta do is just drive. You want to be as close to that VTU as possible. You know there's only 1 on the cap. Look out for the dead bodies. Don't just drive. Just drive, my man. Just drive. You gotta be nobody else can take the hit. If anything, I would tell these guys to wait. Oh man, they're all coming around the outside. So what you need to do is you need to. So again. This is about, I can't remember the term, but it's about amplification about the number of guns that you have out here, right? You need to be the guy that distracts them so that these guys can use their gun. Push, 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 push. Push, 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 push. No. Just keep going. Just push, 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 push. Doesn't matter. You have to push. No, just push him. You need to push him. It's the only thing that's going to make your guns effective is to push him.
Enemy is hit. Ready to fire. Let's find another target. Target acquired. Target released.
And then, this is something that I don't understand. This is what I complain about so much when I see you guys play. So, see your position relative to the Centurion 1. It's 10 meters. Backing up away from him to 15 meters isn't helping you. Moving closer to him to 5 meters isn't helping you. So the local position that you have relative to this Centurion is completely meaningless. Completely meaningless. He's not going to be able to shoot you at 10 meters, but not shoot you at 15. So backing up 5 meters doesn't help you. And it's the same thing on these guys when you were playing over here. Backing up 5 meters doesn't help you. It's not making it that much more difficult for their team to shoot you. So this Centurion is going to be able to shoot you here. Let me see if I can zoom out here. This Centurion is going to be able to shoot you right here. If you move back to right here, he's going to be able to shoot you. If you move back to right here, he's going to be able to shoot you. If you move back right here, he's going to be able to shoot you. If you move back over here, he's going to be able to shoot you. You move back over here, he's going to shoot you, right? There's no place that you can move anywhere where this guy cannot shoot you. So therefore, what you need to do is make sure that this guy can't shoot you, right? And so one of the things that I was saying is that you should have just pushed this guy over here, ideally before your guys died, is just push straight down this lane, which will allow your guys to get some free damage. And that's really what you needed to do. Ruh-roh.
This vehicle has had it.
Oh well. And so that's sort of the trials of learning that playing down this middle is usually not super effective. Again, you did get some free damage there early, but it wasn't really enough to turn the tide of the game because they still crushed you over here. But you still had a chance to win, mostly because they sent a bunch of their guys Valley, which, you know, as we've talked about many times, is relatively inefficient. But your team was very undisciplined, and you'll see that in pubs. Pub teams are undisciplined because they don't have somebody coordinating them, and the undisciplined you can tell that they're undisciplined because everybody shifts over, and what they do when they shift over is that they leave huge gaps behind them where there's no vision control, there's no free damage there, right? And you can't leave those types of gaps like if you're playing in an organized game, which is why you always assign somebody to watch that lane. And then ultimately, the reason why you lost is because you didn't have the map control, because you literally had your entire team in this northwest quadrant. And then at that point, you need to bust out of there, especially, you know, when that VTU drove up. You need to just, even if you got to take hits to kill him, you need to take him out early, because then you can pressure these guys on that back line that were all really lower tier than you. And that probably would have helped you out a lot in terms of the time. And yet, even then, they had such poor positioning that you still had a chance because the WZ-131 was able to get that reset. But you, for some reason, drove down here instead of just driving literally straight towards the cap, which is really what you needed to do. And then all you need to do is just push into that Centurion. Take the shots from the Centurion. Like, it was going to take the Centurion 3 shots to kill you. Just push into him frontally here. Allow your teammates to get free damage. You know, like basically that WZ-131 was shooting that guy in the back, and so you needed to push that guy much earlier. And if you had done it down this lane, you would have been protected from the artillery. And that's how you're in a sense you go, oh, but he's got more health than me, so I'm basically sacrificing yourself. Yes, you are sacrificing yourself, but you gotta be okay with that. You gotta be okay with, hey, the Centurion was at full health. Yes, I'm okay with sacrificing myself as long as my teammates can take the Centurion down, because I cannot do it on my own. And that's the ultimate realization that you should have when you're driving over here, is I cannot win this on my own. And so therefore, I need to find some way to enable my teammates. Alright, so if we look at stats, yeah, I mean, some of the people on your team did okay. Like, mainly these 3 guys. Everyone else is kind of meh. But that'll happen. I don't think that they did, you know, necessarily that poorly. Again, your team was helped out incredibly by their valley push, because again, we've talked about valley pushes before. They're just not super effective. They're really easy to counter. Would have been nice if your artillery had gotten out, but it wouldn't have mattered because your team lacked the discipline to cover the back door anyways. Yeah, especially when you're in the top tier. I just feel like you got to be a little bit more aggressive than you were. But GG, nice try. Well, when you're the big boy and you've got the health and your team are all one shot, you can't allow them to play the front. Alright, so now a lake tank game. Rapicas' WZ-132 on Halluf. Yeah, his teammates did attack a bit too soon. Like, he needed to get there earlier. But, as you remember, he drove down the middle instead of just driving straight towards the cap. If he had just driven straight towards the cap, he would have been the first person in. Assuming that the WZ-131 still got the same reset, you know? Again, if you're the big boy and you've got the health, you gotta be the guy that goes in. Oh man, we got that stupid bugged battle thingy. Hang on a second, let me restart this. Well, I mean, that might be the case, Rapicas. We'll have to see. Again, you know, there is some snipey-dipey to playing some light tanks, but the problem is that a lot of light tank players feel like that's all there is to playing light tanks is snipey-dipey, and that's not necessarily the case. And there's not a whole lot for you to do, particularly in the early game on Halluf, but I do feel like you should still come over here to at least spot these guys that come across early. You don't need to really poke into this lane, per se. And then let's see what you guys do. There are a lot of already. Not really super concerned about that quite yet. You're probably more concerned about their medium tanks at this point. And then as a light tank, you can play through this outside area here. Generally, you won't get punished, and you can potentially light guys over here. Usually your team isn't set up to get shots at their guys coming through there, but I think it's worthwhile. Although you do have a guy that's just driving down there, which is a bad position, as we've talked about for many times, because you don't control that 2 line. It's just too easy to shoot that guy. And then, so when that guy drives down there, you don't need to drive through here, because anything that you were going to light, he's already going to light, so it becomes a redundant position. And so when you look at your dispersion, which is always what you should do, right, after 30 seconds, 60 seconds in a game, you see that you don't have a lot here. So all you're really looking to do here is see if there's anybody crossing north of this 1 line. And then if there's not, you're not really looking to challenge these guys here. You don't really have a gun to do that. You can just go ahead and reposition. And then, so you're turning your tank the wrong way. So the easiest way to get shots down, I mean, you can sort of drive up there, but the way to do it in a position where you don't get shot quite as easily is actually to just raise the rear of your tank. So typically what I'll do is I'll literally just put the back left part of my tank right here, and that will shift the front of my tank down. And then see how like your tank is clipping into the hill? Oops, hang on, wrong button. See how your tank is clipping into the hill a little bit right there? Like the front of your tank will actually clip into the hill right there, and you'll get shots right there, and then you can just back out of it. And it's interesting because like even when tanks that don't have a lot of depression, see how that bat chat came up there? If you have your rear right here, you actually have enough depression to shoot that guy's turret as he comes up. So it's an interesting position that I think everybody should sort of practice, which is playing that corner right there. Like if you watch let's see, what game was that? The fifth? No, it wasn't I think it was like a 907 game that we had earlier tonight on Halluf, the one where they basically ran their entire force through here. Maybe it was STB, the STB game on Halluf. Where they basically ran their entire force over here and we had a bunch of campers back here. But you'll see how I played that area basically allowed me to get shots into a lot of these guys over here and a lot of these guys back here. And the STB obviously has better depression than the WZ-132, but again, it's about the position. And again, so all you're doing All you're really doing, you're not looking to counter this guy. All you're really doing is just trying to get an idea of what they're sending across over here. And then what you really want to do, if they don't send anybody across here in like the next 30 seconds or go, back off, drop spot, and then go and work through someplace else. Because you're not going to be able to attack frontally into these guys. Oh no, Kranwagen! Kranwagens! Don't do it, my man! Oh, I'm actually surprised that damaged him. That was a pretty steep angle. And then you just basically want to fall back, drop spot, and then cut out here. You just don't have the forces here to counter what they have. Like, there's no reason why you should stay here. There we go. My man. Bail out. Bail out. Okay, so what you don't want to do is you don't want to stop right here. That's bad. Because then everybody else can shoot you. Run like the wind. No! Stop stopping. Like, again, so one of the things about light tanks that people really need to get into that is that if you had a chance of saving these guys, like if your presence was the difference between these guys winning and losing, okay, I'm with you. You should, even if it kills you, you should look to support them. But that's not. You being here is not going to win this for these guys. You being over here is not going to win this for these guys. How you can win this for these guys is to clear out through some other side. Put some pressure either from a flank or force them to have to come back, right? That's how you help these guys. You don't help these guys because you've got your little, what is it, 85? Are you using the 85? You're using the 100. Because you're using your little pew-pew 100mm gun on these tier 10 tanks, right? That's not, or that shouldn't scare them, right? So what you need to do is use the strength of your tank, which is basically to relocate. They're relatively weak through here. Relocate, even if it's relocating to out here, right? To put pressure through here, force them to at least have to come back. Don't try to front against tier 10 tanks. Again, if it was something where, oh, I can save these guys, I got this, I can save them, then do it. But this is absolutely not something that you can save, and you need to realize that. Like, you need to look at this. E5, the batch hat is one shot, so that's not much of a concern. I've already got this IS-4 and a 30B coming through here, right? Even if it was only the E5 and the IS-4, or only the E5 and the, even if it was only any two of these three, right? These guys are not in a good position, and you can't save them. So you know, we talk about efficiency and how to use your time. Like right now, you're literally doing nothing. Like, is this E5 going, oh no, man, they got a WZ-132 there. I don't think I should poke on these guys. No, he's not saying that. You're not threatening. You're not dealing damage, right? You're not doing anything. These guys, well, they shouldn't be scared of you. So I'm not entirely sure what your role is here, or what you believe your role to be here. Oh, man, cutting across the middle. Okay, so now, let's talk about this within the context of what's actually occurring in the game. So if you made this move before you got lit, it would make some sense. Because you'd be like, getting desperate. I know these guys are going to lose, right? I know that I can't stay here. And let's say that you felt like your window to get out through the back was gone, right? If that's your thought process, then coming through here is okay, because it's a move of desperation. In this sense, you're coming down here and you're going, man, I hope there's nobody camping up here. Because if there's anybody camping up here, I'm kind of boned, right? But since you waited until you got lit to make this maneuver, every single one of these guys, if they're paying attention to the minimap, knows that you're going over here. The arty knows that you're going over here. Everybody knows that you're going over here. And that's where it becomes risky. Okay, not entirely sure where you're going. Okay, so you can argue that what you did was smart. That you went over here, you didn't get shot by these guys over here because there's nobody over here, so that's fun. And then you came back through here to drop spot. And then for some reason though, the question is, why drive up here? Again, not saving the Kranwagen, not saving the lever PTA. You're probably not going to be able to win this side. If anything, if you wanted to make an argument that you wanted to support these guys, supporting them from the front is not the answer. If you really want to support these guys, again, the best thing for you to do, if you wanted to support them with your gun, is to drive up behind them and force them to turn around and deal with you, or force them to send people back. But even that's not really that important. What I really feel like, and again, I feel like you've squandered a lot of time here, is what you can do is move away from these guys, and let's see where the rest of their team is at. Let's see if you can attack into the rest of their team. Okay, if you're waiting for this E5 to get a good shot on him, that is going to anger me, especially since your guy is getting pushed by like 3 guys over here. Just wasting time, wasting time, wasting time. If you're not gonna pen that Emil, okay, unless he gives you that localacious. Okay, I'll give you that. See how their IS-7 is back here now? See how you guys are pushing up through here? So theoretically, they can pressure through the cap and force them to come back, which would be good for your team, but whether your team will be aware of that or not. But again, what you're trying to do is take on higher tier tanks with more health, more armor, better guns, frontally. And that, I don't understand. That always boggles my mind when people play light tanks. They have more health than you. They have better guns than you. They have better armor than you. Why do you get into a fist fight with Mike Tyson? That seems like it just seems like a dumb thing to do. You need to stay away from Mike Tyson. You need to stay as far away as possible from Mike Tyson, and throw rocks at him or something. So that's what you're not doing. You're like, oh no, I got this. I can trade that. I can trade with this. And yeah, you've dealt 2 shots of damage to the Emil too, but did that stop them from obliterating your side? No. So you still need to get away from these guys, especially as they're coming through here. You guys could very easily still put on cap pressure. They're too far away from their cap, from your cap, and they're too far away from their cap to stop you from capping. So here it comes. Just too much sniper. So if you really wanted to help your team, like if you were really truly interested in helping your team, you would just shoot the track of the IS-4. Because he's the guy that's moving forward. Because you need to stop these guys from progressing in. Simply, your guys can also get on cap, and that would also stop them from coming in, or at least force them to make a decision. But that's not the case. You could be that guy over there on that cap right now, winning the game. But so again, falling back just an incremental amount to take shots at the front of heavy tanks. That is not your strength. It is not your strength. Like, there's no way that you can beat this IS-4. Oh, what are you doing, my man? If you're gonna sit there, you might as well just charge him and get it done. Get it done. Get it done before he reloads. No, get it. No. The E4 is in a better position to deal with the IS-4. You shooting the IS-4 doesn't make it any easier for the E4. Like, what you wanted to do is you want to get that M103 down before he reloaded. So at this point, you might as well take the shot. You might as well just take the hit, drive right here, aim in, get your shot, and take it. Because what you don't want to do is just sit here, sit here, sit here. Because that's where they're going to be able to hammer you eventually. Come on, E4, you got this. Again, I didn't feel like you had needed to rush that shot, but the brakes. Okay, you still need to try to clear out of this area. Let the E4 cover that side. These guys are not in very good shape. What you need to be able to do is you need to reposition someplace where you can either put on cap pressure, or somehow help these guys over here, because these guys are the guys that are going to win or lose the game for you. And you always want to be Wherever is most important. You're not... Alright, that's just not a good shot. Like, I understand that's your only shot, but like, this is not the shot that you should be setting up for. Oh man, if that RU didn't actually back up into that I-7. You still have an opportunity to win over there. You just need to press out over there. Like, there's no reason that you should try to attack into these guys frontally. There's no reason that you should look to get... Like, it is far better. Looks like they're flexing back to take care of their back chat. It's far better for you to go and help those guys than to sit over here. Okay, so now what do you do? Okay, so now the game is completely different because you've already allowed your team to die. So, what you should be looking to do, so the E4 is basically covering this area over here. Now, this is one of the very, very, very few times in this game where this area right here is important. So if you come over right here, they can't push these guys across the middle. They can't push these guys over here. They can't push these guys over here. They can't push them across anywhere except through over here, which your E4 can cover. So what you want to be able to do, because you still have artillery left, what you want to be able to do is you want to set up in a position where you can spot these guys if they want to try to come across the middle. And you need to spot them early. Give your art time. You're not going to get shots. Let your E4 do his job. You do your job. Excellent. This is what we're talking about. Okay, now what you don't want to do is go over there. You actually want to come up over on this side or on that side. And you basically just sit there. You use your superior light tank camo. Okay, so why is this good? Why is this a good play? And trying to attack into these tier 10 heavies and mediums frontally is a bad play. Why do I say that? Because the strength of the light tank is not in its gun. The strength of the light tank is not in its armor. The strength of the light tank is not in its health, because it's undergunned, it's under health, it's under armored. The strength of the light tank is twofold. One, it has better camo, typically, than every other tank in the game. And two, it has that camo regardless of whether you're on the move or standing still. So, you can basically, if you needed to, like let's say there was 2 positions that you needed to cover, you could basically rock back between 2 positions and maintain the same amount of camo, right? They have got to drive in on you, so that allows you a window to get shot, or for your team to get shots. So it's all about intel. Now, why you're pointing your gun this way, I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is about discipline. This guy guards this lane, you need to guard this side. Let him do his job, and you do your job. So even if this Emil 2 pushes that guy, you have to remain disciplined. You have to remain disciplined. I also would go a little bit further forward so you could see into this lane right there. But that's kind of a minor point. For some reason you're zoomed in here. I would not zoom in. I would be zoomed out fully like this, just basically waiting. And that's all you gotta do. You just gotta basically wait. They're gonna come across someplace. So the only I talk about this a lot in Clan Wars, or I used to when we did Clan Wars. I would talk about holes, vision, where we didn't have vision control. So the only place that you don't really have vision control is if somebody comes across through here, up through here, like that. So you like, as this guy, you got to be aware of that, because theoretically they could get behind the E4. So you spotted this 30B out here, and you know that he has 500 health. You know the bat chat's over here. So the artillery isn't probably going to be able to get shots on this guy in the early game. So what you really want to be able to do is just be patient. He's going to come around over here. He's either going to come around this side of the rock, or he's going to come around this side of the rock. You want to get your 1 shot of damage on him as he comes in, and then you just want to back off. Excellent. And then back up. That's all you needed. That's perfect. Perfect, perfect. All you really need to do. And then run away. No, just run away. Or make him think that you're running away. Now, see the Emil 2 is pushing on this side, but that's fine. You have to maintain your discipline. You need to make sure this guy doesn't push up into your arty. Your arty can support the E4, your arty cannot support you. I'm not even sure how you got relit there. Oh, the E-mill. What do you know? And then you have to be careful because the bat chat is dead now, but the 30B is still behind you. So I wouldn't worry too much about the Emil. You should still be worried about this guy over here. Again, this goes back to discipline. Like, you didn't need to come over to. I'm not entirely sure why you think you're gonna shoot the Emil or something. If you really wanted to shoot the Emil, you should have gone around to flank him. Otherwise, just let him do his job. You need to kill this guy over here. This guy who's driving up over here and currently shooting your artillery. Yeah, that guy. Remember him? Oh, he'll drive forward. Oh, you just be patient. I don't understand why you keep looking at this Emil. Your E4 is pushing him, which is fine. Just let him. Just let him do his thing. If he loses, he loses. Again, to me, this is about discipline. You have to understand that this guy is over here. This guy is wrecking your team. The Emil 2 is not wrecking your team. Oh my god. E4 is not going to make it, giving him a little bit too much side. Alright. Now you got to push him. You got plenty of time. Take your time. Keep going. Keep driving. So you know where the 30B is at. The M103 presumably is coming around through this side as well. So at this point, you need to figure out where the 30... Oh, okay. Too late. You do know where he's at least. So you're going to need to push this guy. And it seems silly because he's not one shot to you, and you are one shot to him, but you need this. If you can get a shot here, then that's fantastic. But it seems unlikely. You just basically need to manufacture a miss here. That's all you're looking to do, is just manufacture a miss. Because you can't wait. If you wait for the M103 to engage at the same time as the 30B, then you're done. So if this was one-on-one, if this was just you against the 30B, what you're doing, absolutely, that's totally fine. Get as much distance as you can, get that free damage. But it's not one-on-one. This M103 will catch up to you eventually. So you need to try to get this guy down as quickly as possible. And then you can play the distance game with the M103. You need to get that shot. Try to manufacture that miss. You gotta get it done though, because that M103 is going to be there eventually. He's been dark for an awful long time. Excellent. Okay, now again, you're still on a timer because that M103 is coming. The 30B now knows where you are. He's looking to close the gap right now. See how he just started crossing there? So what I would have done is I would have literally come over here and get that shot on him as he comes across. You basically will be relatively hull down. You're both going to essentially have an opportunity to get that shot. But you need to get him down and then run. You need to get him down and then run. Oh yeah, now run. Run! Don't wait to drop spot, just run. And then out, no, run away the same way that he came through. Run away, no, run away that way. So to me, it's more probable, because you didn't see the M103 come through the middle, that he decided to go around to the Emil side. It's not guarantee, but that's my feel. So again, if you want to look at this from a deductive reasoning point of view, there are three directions that he could have gone. He could have gone all the way around here, he could have gone all the way around where the 30B went through, or he could have come straight through the middle. So where you are going in any one of those scenarios, does that help you? Like, if you went this way, at least it hurts you if he also drove this way. Like, if you come over here and he's right on this ramp, you're like, damn, 1 in 3 chance, he got me. The problem with coming through this middle is no matter where he went, he's kind of got you pinned. And so my feeling is that going in either direction, at least you got a 1 in 3 shot if you didn't know where he went. But let's see what you can see. Maybe he came through the middle and you've got a quick opportunity to get a light on him. Oh, but he's on this side. Oh, but he missed. Yeah, I don't know. I would have run away. I don't feel like this is the right play. He's not quite that slow. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, now this play is that's a little risky. You need. Oh, he missed though. Run away! Run away! Come on. Okay. You gotta shoot the trap. This is interesting because you actually have a chance to win. So the problem that a lot of people have when they circle is that they get a little bit impatient, and so you're going to be loaded on this guy, right? Oh man, there's no timer in the stock, but you're going to be loaded on this guy in about 2 seconds. So essentially, what you're going to do is that his turret actually can't aim at you before you're loaded, right? And so if you continue coming around in this direction, even if you're loaded, don't shoot at the front of the tank. Hold that shot. Hold that shot until you get all the way to the side. No. Okay, I guess I sort of did not anticipate the rate of your turning. So that was not quite enough to bring that around. But again, like I think what you're trying to look for there, if you're loaded, or the problem that a lot of the people have is that they'll shoot into the front of the tank, and so you're either looking to get that side turret shot or get around to the flank. In this particular case, you're not going to be there in time. And that's just a little bit of a mistake. So what do I think that you should have done? Like, especially when he missed that shot right there, I felt like you should have just turned around and drove the other way, right? And so again, this is something that we talk about a lot in pretty much every single replay, it seems like, which is if you're one shot and the other guy's not one shot, it doesn't help you. It never helps you. Well, it very rarely ever helps you if you spot him at the same time that he spots you, and it's at close range. You want to create that gap. You want to create that distance. And so again, my feeling is that you killed the 30B from back here, which is fantastic. Pick a direction. Like I felt like the M103 was coming through this way, but I don't know. Like he could have very easily just been really slowly following the 30B. So I felt like you should have just picked this side, just started heading out here, and if you spot him, he's got me. Right? What are you gonna do? And if you don't spot him, just literally drive over here and just get on the cap. And then if he gets on the cap before you, you got to go back, right? But if he doesn't, then he's got to figure out a way to get all the way back to the other side, because he knows that you're over here because you just killed the 30B. So he's hoping that you're gonna drive into him essentially like he did. So again, felt like you should have pushed the 30B a little bit harder. That because you should have felt that time crunch from the M103. When it's a 1-on-2, sometimes you gotta hope that he misses. Sometimes you gotta hope that that's your window of, okay, well, I gotta push this 30B. Let's hope that he misses and I get my 2 shots and then I can finish him off and be out of there before something bad happens, like the other guy catches up. And I think that's what you're sort of looking to manufacture. But you did kill the 30B, and the M103 wasn't in position yet, so that it worked to your advantage being a little bit more patient there. I'm just saying that I would have felt a little bit more pressure to take that 30B down, because I know that the M103 is coming eventually, because he's got nowhere else to go. And then I would have tried to drive away from him as much as possible. Again, it's a distance thing. If he gets on the cap, you can deal with that then, right? But if he doesn't get on the cap, then that gives you an opportunity to win out without having to face him. And so a lot of the problem that I had with this match was sort of not really what you were saying, at the beginning of the match, which was that I was going to say that there was too much snipey-dipey. I don't really feel like there was too much snipey-dipey. I felt like there was too much, like, I don't know what tank you thought you were playing. Like, I feel like you thought you were playing a Object 140 or something, or a T62A. Like, I thought that's what tank you were playing, based upon your positioning, based upon how you wanted to attack into other people. You weren't playing a light tank. You were playing the T62, and that's a little bit of a problem to me. And so like, especially in the, oh, I can't zoom the map. But so especially in the early game, coming over here is fine. Spotting these guys is fine. You got 2 shots of damage on that IS-7. Fantastic. Fantastic. Cut your losses. There's no reason for you to stay there against 4 tier 10 tanks and a couple of tier 9 tanks. No reason. Just cut your losses, get out there and go and do something more productive. And what your team really needed to do, your team had plenty of opportunities to win the game without you by simply putting on cap pressure and then screening. But that's not what those guys did. But again, you can't rely on your teammates to win the game for you, especially if you're in a light tank and you could have been that guy. You could have been the guy that just drove over here. Yeah, it's not glorious. I get it. You might not think it's fun. I get it. But if you're sitting on that cap and these guys have to come back, these guys have to drive into your guns. You had 2 bat chats and another guy that I don't quite remember over here, right? That's to your advantage. That's how you create situations for your team that allows them to get free damage, that puts the opponent in an uncomfortable position. You know what I'm never afraid of if I'm in my E5, if I'm in my IS4? I'm never afraid of a WZ-132 that's attacking me frontally. That is the least concern on my mind, because even if he does do an off shot of damage, he just doesn't have the DPM to keep up with me, and he doesn't want to trade with me frontally. And there's nothing that I'm going to allow a WZ-132 to keep me from doing, short of keeping me tracked for his artillery. And that wasn't really the case. So I felt like you could have been so much more effective. Rather than fighting these high tiers frontally, you could have been so much more effective by simply putting pressure on the flank. And that's the strength of light tanks. And again, if you were in a T-62, you can make an argument that you still should have left, right? If you're in a T-62, you're just like, we're not going to be able to win this. I'm not, even if I'm in a tier 10 medium, I'm not going to be able to hold off that E5, IS-4, M103, Bat Chat, AMX-30B, right? And so I should bail out. And then if you're in the T-62 and you want to snipe a little bit there as they're coming in, okay, I got you. That's fine. Do that. And then bail. Just keep ceding that ground, forcing them to pay for it in blood as they move forward. But I just don't see that being the strength of the light tank. The strength of the light tank is, okay, this side is gone. We have this narrow window which we can put cap pressure on and force them to come back, or just lose outright, right? That's what I have to exploit. I can't try to attack into a bunch of these guys frontally. And that's sort of the problem that I have with these plays, is that if it feels like you were playing a different tank from, like, if you put a sticker over the tank and weren't able to see it during the gameplay, like, it feels like, oh yeah, he's playing a Russian medium or something like that. But you weren't. You're playing a light tank, and so you got to play it to its strengths. And if this tidal wave of heavies and mediums are crashing down on you, you can't fight that. You can't just sit there and fight that. If you've got no choice, right? If you're stuck for some reason, then sure. But if you had plenty of opportunities to just leave and win by capping, but you chose not to. And I don't think that you played that poorly. I'm just saying that I don't feel like you played it to the strengths of the tank. I felt like you played a pretty strong game. You just didn't play to the strengths of the tank. And that's what the major complaint that I have with a lot of light tanks players, is that I feel like they play them like crappy mediums. Yeah, I don't have as much health as this guy. Yeah, I don't have as good of a gun as this guy. Yeah, I don't have as much armor as this guy. But you know what? I'm going to try trading with them. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Alright, so if you look at the stats, you did well. Your team, I mean, I think your team did average. Like, I don't think that your team did poorly. I don't think their team did super fantastically either. But what are you gonna do? I am glad that you did as much damage as you did. Again, I just feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. Like, you feel, it's almost like, I'm such a good player that I'm gonna handicap myself. I'm gonna cover one eye you know, so that I can only play with one hand, and I don't have, I no longer have appropriate depth perception, although we're looking at a 2D monitor, but you know what I mean, right? It's almost like you wanted to handicap yourself and fight these guys, and I don't know. To me, like, not that it would have been an easy win, but your avenue to winning was by pushing through their cap, or putting pressure through their cap. But again, I don't feel like you played poorly. I actually felt like you played pretty well. I just felt like if you were in a medium tank, you would have won, and because you're in a light tank, you lost, essentially. But GG, nice try. All right, so we'll try to squeeze one more in here. Okay, so we had a couple medium tanks, a light tank, and now a heavy tank. So we'll look at Sabotenn's Arctic region, -2. A lot of top tiers. Alright, so you got a top tier tank. Oh, I should have seen if the mods worked on this. Hang on, let me do that real quick. For some reason, some replays it works, some replays it doesn't, so it helps just because I can zoom the minimap. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that it works this time. I don't know, I'm still going with it's at least 30% of the game. 4 minutes. Of course, this one is bugged. Alright, so... So no zoomed minimap for us. No, and I hope you guys don't take the criticism personally. I'm not like, oh, you're bad people. Bad people. You know, it's... To me, so much of the game, you know, we talk about this occasionally, so much of the game is just figuring out what the good habits are and figuring out what the bad habits are and trying to keep yourself disciplined enough to do the good habits and trying to stamp out the bad habits. And I feel like that's, if you generally do that, just recognize, oh wow, I did something really well there, and you try to replicate that, then you know you're gonna play better than if you don't. All right, so anyways, top tier. Hang on, it takes me longer to look at the comps, which is why I like my tank cards. It takes longer for me to look at the comps here. So it's heavy, heavy, medium, heavy, heavy, heavy. So you don't have a whole lot of speed. Your speed is mostly the mid tiers there. But they've got a fairly similar setup. They got a T-43, but otherwise it's not like they have a whole lot of speed. And there's a couple already on each side, which is a thing. So a lot of times I will still push over here because I know my team sort of needs it. Again, I always treat this alley kind of like the valley on Lakeville. Some pubbies will go and fill it, so I don't really generally have to worry about it. I want to win through someplace else on the map. But let's see where you decide to go. Oh, go forward someplace though. Alright, and you're going to the northwest, which is fine. And it... Oh. Or no. Okay. Which is also fine. Either way. So if you push up here, the only thing that you don't want to do, and I say this many times whenever we play this on the stream, is you don't want to camp back here. This is bad. You want to be up here. This is defensible. This is not. Which is why people tend to get crushed over there once I get up underneath them. So if you're going to play this side, which a lot of your team is, you need to actually be careful. So what you need to do is you need to read what's in front of you. And if what's in front of you is less, then you need to crush them. If what's in front of you is more, then you need to fall back. There is no in between. You don't want to sit out here and just try to trade. Because eventually you're going to get whittled down by artillery. So they put their IKV forward on that low ground, which is fine. These guys can move forward and actually get shots into that guy pretty easily from a protected position. So there's basically two plateaus here, right? There's this upper ground here, and there's this lower ground here. And both of them are equally important in a sense, and both of them have artillery lanes that can fire through them. But if you're down here, then you're relatively protected from the artillery, and you get shots on this IKV, and you're protected from shots from the upper plane. If you're on this upper plane, depending on where you're at, you have protection from artillery depending on how they set up. Although you'll see a lot of artillery set up over here, which I don't think is really particularly useful. Yes, you do get some additional shots onto this lane, but again, I don't feel like the lane that you're on is very important for controlling the game. You've still got a bunch of your guys back here, so these guys right here, they're not vulnerable, but you're still not really in a position where these guys can help you over here. So you always got to keep an eye on what's going on. Zoom, my man! Sniper mode! Oh, one already missed. Oh, maybe you are in sniper mode. Alright, sorry. I had hit my thing one too many times. Okay, and then, this is what I was saying earlier. There's two options here. Either you push, or you fall back. Those are the only two options. What you don't want to do, you don't want to just mingle around in this area and wait. Because eventually you're going to get whittled down. So it's do or do not. There is no try. Yeah, that was not a very good shot, but okay. And again, the more that you just kind of hang out there, the more that you're going to allow artillery to get shots at you. So, predictably, those guys were able to kill that IKV down there, which is fine. What's interesting is that they can potentially push across and clear through that T-43. There's not much of a window. There's a little bit of window there. So what you want to do is you want to push these guys back a little bit. Right now, you're just kind of you're only tangentially participating in this game, which is a bit of a problem. Oh man, a TOG. Collect that free TOG damages. So you're gonna get hit by artillery. You need to just start getting some shots here, because you need to put some pressure on. Pressure. Don't worry. Put some pressure on. Put some pressure on. Pressure. And so what you want to do is you want to be closer to this right here, because where you're at can get hit by artillery still. So once you take so essentially what you did was fine in a sense. What I would have done is I would have come up here, just gotten that shot as quickly as I can, and then repositioned while I was reloading to be close to this. And then all I'm looking to do is I'm just looking to keep these guys from getting shots on my guys if my guys decide to cross down over there. I honestly, I would not care about the Hellcat right now. Like, you know that he's probably on the other side of that area right there. But what you really need to do, again, this is always the problem with the way that people play this. This is a do or do not. You either push here or you don't do anything at all. You go all the way back. What you don't want to do, the more that you congregate, just kind of hang out, just kind of idle here, the more advantage that is to their team. The more that allows their artillery to get shots on your team. The more that allows the guys in the back to get shot on your team. So, paradoxically, moving forward and getting shot is your best way of avoiding damage, because you're not going to allow them the chance to just whittle you down. Do or do not. Too many shot cycles here. Oh, full profile! It's a little much. That's not me, that's you this time. So, both already fired. Let's go, my man. It's go time. Who needs to aim? Just push across it right at that T-43. Just do it. That's not again. That's not me again. That's you. Oh, just go. Just go. So what you don't want to allow this guy to do is just to continue to proxy spot you there, especially when you see that 122-44. Again, you got to break some eggs here. You can't allow your team to just sit back here. I mean, look, you're literally just bleeding out sitting here to kill 3 guys. Just do it. Just go. It's got to be done. They're underneath your team on the north. It's good for them, bad for you. You're gonna be lit by that T-43 the whole time. Good for them, bad for you. Just go. Just do it. Just do it, my man. Just do it. No, just go. No. Alright, fine. If you want to just run away, that is also fine. But, so if you do run away, just go around back through there and just go all the way back. That's fine. Like, if you're like, okay, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, then okay. But don't drive up here, full profile, lose all this health, when you could have lost probably less health just pushing that guy and taking him out. Again, I think you need to use a little more sniper zoom. You one-shot the Hellcat, so you do have that going for you. Again, they are through on your north, so you got a decision to make. You go back or not. If you're sitting in, probably defensively speaking, the worst possible position. Do or do not. And that's the motto. That should definitely be the motto for this alley. If you're not going to do it, just leave. Just leave. Just leave. There's no reason to idle. Just go back and help your guys clear this out. Okay, so what you really, really, really don't want to do is play through here. Like, this is extremely bad. If you do not control this north, you never, 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 never want to play through here, because it just allows them too many opportunities. So the question is, there's always a risk versus reward. What am I risking, and what do I get in return? So the question then is, as you drive up here, you know the risk, right? These guys can light you. These guys can get shots at you. Artie can get shots at you. You got to drive up a hill to get over here. What's the reward? What reward are you getting from driving up here? I can't really see any. Like, maybe you can spot the Chaffee. Seems unlikely, depending on his positioning. This guy, you're probably not going to spot. You're not going to be able to snipe anybody with an IS-2. So, like, the risk far outweighs the reward. Like, if for some reason they were pushing through this side, okay, the reward is getting over here. You get flanking shots on them, prevent them from flanking your guys. But that's not the case. So this does not seem like a good play. And you are being rewarded as such. So again, if your goal was to go back, all right, man, I can't win here. I got to go back and help my guys. Literally just turn around and go back and help your guys. Like, there was nothing stopping you from just going back over here. And then depending on how the T-43 is positioned, you can come up through here, or you can go all the way around through there. Wouldn't have taken any damage. Again, if that's your goal. And I'm not entirely sure what you think you're going to get here. So the Chaffee's on the other side. Again, a lot more, jump into that sniper mode early. Don't jump out unless you need to. Oh, look at that. Look at that snipe. That I take it back. IS-2, best sniping tank at aim. Okay, so the interesting thing is that you actually have position on them. So presumably the SU-122-44 is still in this general area. The KV-2 is still in this general area. You already know where the T-43 is. So now you just need to be a little bit patient. Allow your guys to get some map control over here, and then you can potentially put some pressure through here, but not before then. Because right now you can't. You're driving back across that same alley where you just got wrecked, and that doesn't seem like a good plan. Again, That's you. You gotta get into sniper mode a little bit earlier there. And then we talk about this a lot in terms of understand what it is that you're afraid of. Whether you're here against a T-43, you're going to get shot. If you're right here, you're going to get shot by that T-43 if you crest there. So there's not really a whole lot of places where you can go to get safe from the T-43. What you want to do is you want to be safe from the artillery, so that if the artillery is in this ditch right here, which is fairly rare, artillery don't really play that positionally very well, that they can't shoot you. And so positionally, you want to be close to that rock. Oh, look, so they might have somebody over there. And again, he just missed. Although it's, oh, that's the grill. So again, understand what it is that you're afraid of. There's no reason for you to push across through here, but to each his own. Oh, at least you did sniper mode. And he is on the move. And then that's an acceptable risk to scroll back and then scroll forward there. To me, you just don't want to stay out there. Oh, this is not. Oh, so close. And then you're gonna want to turn around and face the KV2. You don't. So what you want to do now, is basically hug yourself in right there. Allow your team time to get into a position to help you. Oh man. Oh, the fires are real. Oh, you drove back to the position where the T-44 could shoot you though. Oh, go Chaffee. Don't back up into him. Just let the Chaffee deal with him. Slowly. Okay, now you gotta go. Oh, take your time with that shot. He's not even looking at you, my man. Oh, and the T-43 is down. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how you guys lose this, except for the fact that your team never put any pressure through the north. See how they all came down through the exact same area? It's always bad, you know, like that. And then even you, it's like there's no reason for you to push forward here against this 122-44. Now, you actually have an avenue where you can get out over here. Right? This is not a good trade. He is one shot to you. So I'm not entirely sure what you're thinking. Your team still positionally could have done a lot better instead of playing through the north. But camper's gonna camp. They generally don't reposition very well. Just this move from this position to this position basically cost you the game. It was basically you said, what is the worst decision I could possibly do other than drown myself? And that's essentially what you did, unfortunately. And so again, it's really one of those situations where I think you have to train yourself. You can play down on this south area, but it's do or do not. If you feel like you have an opportunity, take it. If you don't, just leave. Just leave. You don't want to sit there. Your team got wrecked. Your team got destroyed there. Yes, you took out a couple of their tier 7 tanks. It was tier 7, tier 6. Maybe it's 2 tier 6s. But anyway, yes, you took out a few tanks there. But the cost was prohibitive. Just prohibitive. And they pushed in over here, and they didn't push in very efficiently, and your base team was able to clear them up. But you lost too much health just driving across here to do nothing, and that ultimately hurt you. Lol. Lol. See, again, understand what it is that you're afraid of. What should this T-25AT be afraid of, do you think? I don't know. I can't think of anything that he could possibly be afraid of. Oh man, the grill. Oh, this team still has chance. Oh, man. Yeah, we kind of knew that was going to happen. So anyways, so again, you came down to the south. I felt like you could have done the same thing on the north if you just pushed through here. You probably could have hammered most of their guys. So much of the game is being appropriately aggressive and then understanding when you have an opportunity to push and when you're in a bad position. And if you guys are sitting here and it's just cut, bleed, You have to recognize that, and you have to actually play differently. And a lot of times, whenever you're stuck into a situation where you're just like, man, we got a raw deal here. You know, we're gonna eventually just bleed out. You have two choices to make, and it's either you just do it, right? Like pushing that T-43, just do it, or the opposite, which is just turn around and leave. And you had an opportunity to turn around and leave, and you decided to split the difference, and that ultimately cost you the game. All right, so we don't need to watch the rest of this, but we'll jump to the stats. All right, so if we look at the stats. Oh man, you guys actually even got capped out. Lol. Yeah, you didn't get a whole lot out of your team, but again, most of your team was with you on that south, so you didn't really facilitate for them too much. Overall, you did well, though. They had to push into you a lot of times for you to get that damage, which hurt a bit. But GG, nice try.